Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Sarah Fenske. And now to our remembrance of St. Louis theater icon Linda Kennedy. This is Linda Kennedy.
My name is Linda Kennedy, and I'm the Artistic Associate with the Black Rep over Education and Community Programs. My mother said a classmate, in fact she was ahead of me, told her that I was one of the few people she knew who lived out her dream from elementary school. My dad wanted me to be a secretary, my mom wanted me to be a teacher, and I wanted to perform. And this position allows me to do all of that. At the end of the day, I feel pretty good.
That was Linda Kennedy speaking with St. Louis Public Radio in 2013 about her work with the St. Louis Black Repertory Theater. Linda died August 16th after battling cancer. She was 68 years old. Here to discuss the life and legacy of Linda Kennedy is Ron Himes. He's the founder and producing director of the Black Rep, where Kennedy performed many of her greatest roles. Ron Himes, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
You discovered Linda back in 1981. How did she catch your eye?
Me and Vivian Watt, who was the choreographer at the theater at the time, went to a festival in Fairground Park, I believe it was. And Linda was on stage dancing with this dance company that were performing. And I saw a guy that I knew with the company, Daryl Harris, who I knew from Wash U. And after they finished dancing, Daryl introduced us to Linda, and we told her that she should come down to the 23rd Street Theater and audition. And the very next week, she came down and auditioned and never left.
And what about her dancing gave you this sense of this woman could be an actress?
Just her presence. You know, she had an amazing presence, an amazing energy, and it just, exuded off the stage. And, you could see that she was someone special up there.
So when she first auditioned, did she get that first part?
Yeah, pretty
much. She did, right away.
Yeah. I think one of the first things she did was Bubbling Brown Sugar, which was a musical, and she did everything. I mean, it was really anything that we needed done. And back in the old days, we all sort of did everything. So she acted, she danced, she sang, she did administrative work. We all sort of, as a small company of actors trying to have a theater company, we all did whatever it took to get the show up.
And in addition to her performances, she ended up playing a number of roles within your company throughout the years. Tell us a little bit about some of the different things she did, just backstage and in addition to being on stage.
Well, she was, she choreographed sometimes she was a costume designer. She was always sort of a coach and a mentor to young people who came to the theater. But I think, probably just some of the roles that she played that would sort of, no one would really think. For instance, the first time that we did The Wiz, Linda played The Wiz.
Linda played The Wiz?
Linda played The Wiz the first time we did
Was this
The
your
Wiz.
casting decision?
Yes.
And what made you decide to put her in this role? That's a historically male part, right?
Yes, it is historically male. And but, it was just the effect that, she had in our working relationship was that, she pretty much could do anything and would try anything. And so I was constantly trying to challenge her, trying to stretch her, and continuing to help her grow and develop. We're doing a play this season, Spell Number 7, and in it has a narrator, and which is also a male role. And when we did Spell Number 7, Linda played that role as well. So we cast her in a lot of different ways, and she always rose to whatever the occasion might be.
I saw her in a couple of different theater companies as well, where she was playing roles that had been written for white performers, and she inhabited them so fully. I saw her play, who's the mother in The Glass Menagerie?
Yes.
Amanda Wingfield.
Amanda, yes.
And she was such a great Amanda Wingfield. You would have thought the part had been written for her.
Right. She and I also, one of the last things we also did on Golden Pond, and she was just amazing in that role,
playing the Katharine Hepburn part.
Yes, and so yeah, she was versatile. She was magical. Really.
You've worked with so many actresses. What do you think made Linda so good?
I think it was her fire, her dedication, her commitment to trying to celebrate culture and to transmit history, and to be a role model in terms of being an example through her work.
Linda Kennedy made her solo cabaret debut in 2015. I read a review of the show. They said she sang protest songs, Revolution, Blackbird, and Go Up Moses. But reviewer Chuck Lavazza wrote that the dramatic highlight of the show was her performance of the song Mr. Bojangles. We actually have a clip of that here that we're going to play. It's courtesy of the Cabaret Project.
How many of you remember watching Shirley Temple movies on Saturday? It's one of my favorite things to do, but I wasn't watching Shirley. I was watching her little feet. Oh, yeah. I'd watch the movie, and then I'd go downstairs where my dad had put a big mirror above the bar, and I'd climb on top of the card table so I could see my whole little body in the mirror. Now, the basement ceiling was at best 6 feet, so that tells you how tall I wasn't. And I would practice the dance that I had seen in the movie that day, because I had to be ready, just in case cute little Miss Girly Top got sick or something. And then I didn't have a chance to dance with one of them. I thought he was just the handsomest man. And her co-star. I know a man Bojangles, and he danced for you in worn-out shoes, with silver hair, a ragged shirt, and baggy pants. He threw an old soft shoe.
That was Linda Kennedy performing Mr. Bojangles in preparation for her solo cabaret debut in 2015. Ron, when did you first find out that Linda was ill?
A couple of years ago, actually. She, talked about not being well and needing to go get some tests. But I think that in the midst of our work, it was a while before we talked about her test results.
The fact that she actually had cancer.
Right. And so it was really probably a year ago, maybe 18 months ago, that she finally said to me that she had cancer. And
what was her attitude like towards it?
Cavalier. It was sort of, I got things to do. And, this time last year, she was directing the first show of the season, Crowns, at the Black Rep. And she was in a lot of pain during that time. And immediately after the show opened, she went right into rehearsal for Chef at Upstream. And I know she was, there were periods during the rehearsal of Crowns that I had to, she had to sit down, and I had to sort of move people around for a little while until she sort of, got her strength and stamina back. But then she went right into rehearsal for that one-woman show, which was just, miraculous that she was able to pull that off. And she was amazing when I went to see the production, but
The
what-
reviews for that show were extraordinary.
And, you know, the thing about it is I'm sure that no one had any idea of what she was going through, how much pain she was in, how much she was suffering. And I'm sure she just went home every night and collapsed.
Did she continue to make plans for future plays? Had you cast her in anything recently?
Well, she was, you know, she would have directed the last show of the season this year, and she probably would have, well, we would have talked about her reprising her role in Spell Number 7, although she would have probably played one of the other roles this time. I got a number of calls from people who were trying to reach out to her to see if she was available. And we had talked, and she had just asked me to just, you know, respond to people to let them know that she wasn't available. So I had to let a couple of people know that. And she knew that she was going to need some time to recover.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was still reading scripts for me. We talked regularly.
And so she was hoping to continue going on.
Yeah, I'm sure. And if not on stage, she certainly was going to continue teaching.
I've seen many interviews with her where she talked about just how grateful she was to be able to work as an actress and to be in this field that she loved. Do you think that's part of what gave her that cavalier attitude, that she'd done what she wanted to do with her life?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the last time that I visited her, you know, we talked a long time about, you know, things, old things, stories. We laughed a lot. When I left the room, she had a smile on her face. You know, she was at peace. And I think that she was ready.
She was ready.
She was ready.
Linda Kennedy is survived by her mother, her son Terrell Randall Sr., and 2 grandchildren. Ron Himes, founder and producing director of The Black Rep, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about her life.
Thank you.
This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.